All right, guys, we're continuing our reading. This is chapter 5. And again, please pay attention because your assignment is going to be based around some of the stuff that we see in here. Here we go. Here we go. Chapter 5. This one is called The Image of Sally. Weeks went by before Papa saw the picture of Sally. By day, he was busy planting Indian corn and pumpkins, and by night, the guests hovered around him like bees after honey. They hung on his every word. For a while, Papa was a man of few words. Each one counted. By the time he had a moment to spare, there was not only the picture of Sally to show him, there was a whole stack of pictures. Done on popular boards, on birch bark, on anything that could hold a pen stroke or a smudge of charcoal. Forgive me for the coughing, guys. It was a mid-morning of a bright May day when Papa first heard about the pictures. "Benjamin," he called out as he came into the kitchen, bringing the smell of rich black earth with him. Nanny Luddy has lost a shoe. See if the smith can attend to her at once. Well, the smith, guys, so that you know, Nanny Luddy is the horse, and she lost the shoe, meaning a horseshoe. And so the smith is referring to a blacksmith, somebody who makes horseshoes, okay? "Oh, yes, Papa," replied Benjamin quickly. He grinned at the thought that now Sarah or Hannah or Mary or Elizabeth would have to come down from her bed making and take over his job. He was doing a hot and tiresome chore at the time. He was sitting on the hearthstone turning the crank handle that turned a joint of meat before the fire. And every now and then he had to baste the meat with the brown gravy that dripped into the pan beneath. Grimalkin sat watchful at Benjamin's feet. Memory told him that sometimes the gravy spattered on the hearthstone, and all of the spatters belonged to him. "The sun has great power this morning," Papa remarked. "It is pleasant and cool inside." "Cool," thought Benjamin as he wiped the beads of sweat from his upper lip. Papa sat down at the table. He began sampling the wild strawberries that Mama was putting into a pie. Then, looking as sheepish as a boy, he reached over and scooped up one finger some of the floating island pudding that stood cooling in a bowl. Boy, that sounds good. He smiled up at Mama, "And the pudding is exactly to my taste," he said. "Benjamin," said Mama, would this be the time to show Papa your pictures?" At the word picture, Papa coughed and sat upright. His hands tightened on his whip handle until the knuckles stood bare and big. His face went redder than the strawberries. He fixed his hat more firmly on his head. "Uh-oh," thought Benjamin, "how quickly Papa can change." Grimalkin rolled over and over to attract attention, but Papa took less notice of him than if he had been a fly. Look at Grimalkin," laughed Benjamin nervously. A heavy silence was the only answer. Slowly, Benjamin got up and walked over to the pine dresser. If only John or Thomas or Samuel or Joseph would come and get Papa. But Door Latch Inn was as still as a meeting house. Only the hens clucked beneath the windows. With trembling hands, Benjamin took the stack of pictures from the bottom drawer of the dresser, and he handed Papa the one of Sally. It was as if Papa hated even to touch it. Gingerly, he laid it on his lap. He reached into his pocket and took out his square-rimmed glasses. And slowly he adjusted them under his beetling brows. And then he brought the picture up close. For a long moment, he didn't say anything. Grimalkin lowered his tail at the awful stillness. Mama's spoon dropped out of her hand with a loud clatter. Stop right there. Boys and girls, who can tell me who is Grimalkin? You should know he is the cat. Finally, Papa placed the drawing on the table, and the image of Sally should be carried in our hearts, he said, as he looked up over the rims of his glasses. Not on a piece of paper. Pictures fade, memories remain green forever. Green? Shouted Benjamin. How I long to put green into my pictures. I tried to draw a hummingbird yesterday, and he dipped his beak into a flower. I couldn't even catch him. I wanted to paint his shiny green head, but all I had was red and black ink. And Papa shook his head as he looked at the pictures of red-headed woodpeckers and swamp roses and bushes with scarlet berries. It would be better to study cabbages and turnips, or even gooseberries, he said with a sniff. These are gay and gaudy. Pride in pictures shows a worldly spirit. But Papa, I'm not proud of these pictures. I aim to do better, much better. If only I had more colors. At this, Papa gave up. Tell me why it is that you have to draw, he asked. Now, Benjamin was at a loss. How could he explain the need for putting things on paper? How could he explain that? Was it that Sally's smile is fleeting and you wish to hold it? Asked Mama. That's it, Mama. That's it. The hummingbird, too. It's gone in winter, yet I could capture him on paper. So even if he goes away, I still have a picture of him. Now, Grimalkin screeched his muscles and looked up at Papa as if he wished to add a few words. First, he uttered a little sneeze to attract attention, as people sometimes clear their throats, like I did. Then he started talking. Yow, meow, meow, yow. Louder and louder he talked until finally he flung back his head and opened his mouth so wide it showed all the black ridges inside. Well, Papa sat silent and thoughtful for a moment. Then his eyes twinkled. Grimalkin is right, he said. To preserve good actions on paper can do no harm. Benjamin is but a lad, Mama. He will outgrow this. Then turning to Benjamin, he said, I hope you continue with your drawing, if it does not interfere with your chores. Benjamin wanted to scoop Grimalkin in his arms and dance in circles like a whirl beetle. He wanted to toss Papa's hat to the sky. He wanted to hug Papa until they both gasped for breath. But all he said was, thank you. Thank you, Papa. Now I will see about Nanny Ludy's shoes. And he frisked Grimalkin's whiskers for pure joy. So, today's lesson, you're going to have an assignment that goes along with that. But let's talk a little bit about, really quick, about the fact that sometimes we want to do things, and sometimes we want to save memories, and we want to do things that we really feel are important. And I think that it's important to have a balance in your life. I think that if you have chores to do, you should take care of those first, and then you do what you want to do. So in other words, do what you need to do, and then you can do what you want to do. So when it comes to our classwork, during this time of not being in school, it can be very easy to get lazy and to disappear and to want to go watch a TV show, and I'll do it later. But I would encourage you to do what you need to do first and get that done, and then you can do what you want to do. All right? Don't forget, guys, follow the instructions for the assignment that goes along with this chapter, and it has to do with drawing and using pieces of paper. All right? And we already discussed that. I'll talk to you soon. Have a great day. God bless.